Blog Talk Radio.
Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's show. This is GST Radio Show podcast. Thank you guys for listening in. And oh jeez, my mind is like, I apologize, guys. I want to introduce our co-host, Clint.
What's going on, people? Hope we got a great show lined up for y'all tonight.
Yes, and Jabril is probably going to call in today. He's traveling right now, but we do have a guest host, my sister, of course. Now, you want to chime in? Say hi.
Hi, everybody.
All right. Like Clint said, we have a great show for you guys tonight. Tonight, we're going to be discussing the Democratic National Convention. So that's pretty much the basis of what we're going to be talking about for the entire night. But like I said, thank you guys for joining. You can definitely call in to the show and listen. Our number is 657-383-1155. So I'm going to kick this thing off right now. Clint, you want to jump in?
Well, since we starting off talking about the DNC, I want to start off with how it started. And it started with controversy when Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she had to resign from her DNC post. No, she is the chairwoman of the Democratic National Committee. She had to resign after a trove of emails leaked that showed party officials conspiring to sabotage the campaign of Senator Bernie Sanders. So and there's a lot of Bernie supporters that's there at the convention. That's very pro-Bernie and anti-Hillary. And, we all seen when we watched it, the standing ovation that Bernie got. He got the loudest ovation that any speaker there has gotten this whole convention. It took them like 5-10 minutes before they even let him speak because they were just standing and cheering. So that's how much support he had. And, a lot of people were upset, and they felt like the party conspired against him, tried to shut him down. They just wanted Hillary in there. So, that's how it started. It started with controversy, and that was right after, the Republican Party, the Republican convention got a lot of support. Donald Trump numbers went up. He got a lot of the independent votes. So that's where, the trouble lies in with the Democrats. They was expecting that this convention would get a lot of swing votes from the independents. But when you start off with that type of controversy, with them type of issues, now you got people looking at y'all sideways like, what's going on? You already, Hillary already got issues with the other emails, that's been going on for about over a year now with people, they calling for her to go to jail, this, that, and the third. Now when you start off the convention, you starting off with this, trying to say y'all trying to sabotage that man's campaign, because Bernie had a lot of support. And it was funny to me. It's like, everybody I know, for the most part, I'm going to say about 85% of the people I know wanted to vote for, said they was going to vote for Bernie. So it was baffling to me that that she won it so easily. Yeah. You know what I mean? He won the nomination so easily. So, I don't know how y'all feel about that. What y'all think about that?
Well, I think that definitely is suspicious of anything because, like you said, Bernie had a lot of support, and it did seem like for a while that a lot of people it was like about Hillary, like even before he conceded, defeat, they were saying that Hillary was the presumptive nominee, and he wasn't even out of the race yet.
Exactly.
And she would be talking to Trump and not to Bernie, who was the person she was up against. So I'm not trying to say conspiracy theory, but it does make one think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you because I remember vividly, with a lot of controversy when they was already saying she was the nominee when it was still time left. Like Bernie still had a chance. But obviously to me, I feel like they did sabotage you. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like Hillary. And it's also one of the reasons why I don't claim a party.
Right.
I'm not a Trump fan either, so I don't want people to think I'm or he pro-Trump. Like, no, I'm not. But this is one of the reasons why I don't claim a party, because now, you see the position that it put Bernie in.
Yeah.
Because now he had to protect. Okay, he lost, even though he probably in his heart know that he should have won or could have won. But now he has to throw his support behind her, because technically everybody can still vote for Bernie. That's one thing people got to understand. You can still vote for Bernie, just because Hillary's the Democratic nominee does not mean you can't vote for Bernie. You can write him in. But it'll split the party, it'll split the votes, and that'll help Trump. So it'll put him in a position that what now he has to really support somebody he don't want to support. He really don't want to support Hillary. He really don't. And a lot of his supporters don't want to support Hillary. But in order for them to defeat Trump, he had to throw his hat behind her, and I think that's kind of foul. Yeah,
it was funny too, because I was tweeting yesterday on our GSP Radio Twitter account. And we was tweeting all about the Democratic Convention, and it was funny because I'm not sure if you're familiar with the comedian Nima Williams. He was going, like, we were basically on Twitter and everything. I follow him on Twitter. He's like the conscious, he's like a real good person. He actually talks back to the fans, but he had me cracked up because he was saying that people he said everybody basically saying vote for Hillary because nobody wants Trump. Like, everybody wanted Bernie, but since we can't have Bernie, we basically voted for Hillary because we'll vote for anybody other than Trump.
Yeah.
And it was like it rang so true to this, like, everybody in the party was like, listen, it's the only person we got, and we might as well just vote for her versus Trump because, he's not the good candidate in this situation to run America. Nobody thinks he's fit. So it's like, so everybody in their mind is thinking it's either him or it's her. And that's why I said that yesterday. I actually posted on my Facebook page. I was saying, because people were like, oh, well, I don't want to vote for Trump, so I'm not voting. It's like, okay. And like our former co-host Red was saying on her Facebook page today, if you're not going to vote, if you don't want Hillary or you don't want Trump and you're not voting, you're basically voting without voting.
Exactly.
So it's like an oxymoron. Like, you're not helping the situation. Like, and I get it. Like, a lot of us don't like Hillary. We don't care if she's a woman. Like, these women should vote for Hillary. Blah, blah, blah. I get that, but we didn't really. Well, not we. Well, me personally, I didn't know for a while. I didn't know who I was voting for. I was going back between her and Bernie because it was like Trump. I didn't want him, and those were the two I was thinking about from the beginning. And as I got to learn more about the candidates as we were doing on our shows, I leaned towards Bernie. And it's like I didn't really particularly care for Hillary anyway, but at this point, it's like it's not. And I wrote on my page, like, if you don't want to vote for either of the two, write somebody in. Mm-hmm. Just do something rather than do nothing. And I think that's where a lot of people are dropping the ball because they think, oh, I don't want either one, so I'm not voting. You're voting whether you realize it or not.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And at the end of the day, it really boils down to who's going to make the best president for our country. Like, these are our two choices, it's Trump or Hillary. And Trump has these outlandish ideas and just all types of craziness going on. And it's like, with him and the just some of the stuff, some of his rhetoric is just ridiculous. And it's like it's I guess Michelle Obama said it best. It's not Democratic or Republican, it's almost like right or wrong at this point. And it's like, we need to do what's right for America. Do we really want someone that wants to put up borders? And our country was based on the backs of immigrants. You know what I mean? So who are we to say, no, y'all can't come in? That's our country is a melting pot, basically. And that would be kind of messed up for a lot of people. And I don't know. It's just a lot of stuff that Trump says that just doesn't make any sense. Like I said, his rhetoric is just...
Yeah. And you know what the funny was when you said that? It made me realize that, listen, we're all immigrants.
Yeah.
Like, let's think about this realistically. The only people that are true to this area are Indians. Most of us got shipped over. Most of us came over of our own free will. So you think of these situations and you say, well, I get it. Like, these people are coming in illegally. Okay, let's figure out ways to rectify the situation. I don't think we need to build walls. Another one of his points was now, like, America helps out. They have allies with different countries. He's like, no, I want you guys to pay for us to help you.
Yeah.
And it's like he's missing like the United Nations is the United Nations for a reason. Like we're trying to all be together at some extent. We're not always going to agree with other countries, but we all understand that we're all at this table and that we're all understanding like this is what's best for the country and for the whole entire world. And he's basically coming in like, no, I want to shut this down. I want to stop this. I want to do X, Y, Z. And at the end of the day, it's I believe the presumptive VP for the Democratic Party and a few of the others were saying he basically wants to divide everybody. Like he's promoting division between everyone.
And united we stand, divided we fall.
And how does that exactly?
The one thing, I like to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
The one thing I believe the point he's trying to get across and that I wholeheartedly agree with is we spend so much money and so much time and effort helping all these other countries, and a lot of those countries wouldn't waste their time to help us if we needed it. And at the same time, we need to focus on ourselves because, when he say, let's make America great again, some people could take that a lot of different ways, as far as, some people think, like especially black people, well, what do you mean? We're great when it was all Jim Crow and or what, slavery? My thing is, I think we're not the superpower we once were. Our education system, like we're lacking behind so many countries when it comes to education. Like we fell off. America isn't what it once was. Like it's a lot of flaws. So that's how I look at it when he says that. In my opinion,
that's an interesting concept. Concept.
Because we can always throw race in it, but let's just look at the facts. Look at our society. We're more violent than ever. And that has a lot to do with poor education. A lot of people living in poverty, and we're such a great nation. We shouldn't have this many people homeless and living in poverty. You feel me? Does Trump have the answers though? I don't believe so. So I can understand his point, but I don't believe he's the person to fix it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can see where you coming from. Like, all right, bro, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think you're the one to fix it. Is Hillary the one to fix it?
He doesn't really have ideas on how to fix it.
Exactly.
He's saying all this stuff, but like the presumptive VP pointed out, he's saying, okay, this XYZ, we're going to do this, and the third. He's not saying how he's going to do anything. The only thing he's saying is we're going to build the wall. And he keeps as a VP kept saying, believe me, or whatever Trump's tagline is for normally most of that he says. And it's like you need to tell us how. How are you planning to fix things? Because you're telling problems, but you're not giving solutions. Anybody can point out problems, but if you're not going to give us solutions, how are we going to fix them?
Right. And it's like, how can we trust him to run the country when, they asking him what is your stance on military things? He's saying, I watch the shows. I'm like, what? You watch the shows? Like, oh my goodness. It's just stuff like that. Like, he's very vague. He says things and he doesn't explain things about anything about what he's going to do. How can we trust him to lead our country when he can't even explain to us how he's going to do it? He's just saying, I'm going to make America great again.
Yeah, and then he's hostile when you call him out on something. Do you notice how he responds?
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Something real quick about the DNC. Like they got Chelsea Clinton on the stage. It's funny because I'm posted on Facebook and Twitter about our radio show and about what we're talking about. And I see somebody posted, this is their first time ever hearing her speak. And I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, You know what I mean? This is the first time I ever heard Chelsea Clinton speak. And she's on the she's up here on stage right now, I guess about to introduce her mother, I believe.
Yeah, she's about to she basically bringing her mother out, like.
Yeah. And you know, this is my first time ever really hearing her speak after all these years. You feel me? Like that.
Yeah.
Her dad was president in 92 in 2016. It's 24 years later. This is my first time really ever hearing her speak.
Yeah.
Now that she didn't want to be in the spotlight. I mean, you know, like when your family is that much in the spotlight, and you look at Bill Clinton's terms and what they had to go through, and then like, you know, bouncing back from that and everything, she just didn't want to be involved. And you know, but it's great to hear these kids, even with Donald Trump's son and his daughter, them talking about their parents. Because like I said, they know them, they grew up with them, so it's interesting to see how, you know, they view their parents, and you know. So, like, I mean, that's great to hear them speak. And I cracked up today because I actually had a conversation with my coworker, and I said, do you realize just how much his son, the junior, sounds just like him? Like, not necessarily sounds like him, but how he talks like him. His mannerisms are like his father. But his speech was his speech. Like, you know, he talked about, he spoke very well. You could tell that he's very educated. And, you know, you just see that, you know, it's different. Like, you got to take people at different face value. Like, it's them. It's a business person of them. It's a family person of them. And you get to see, and you get to at least get an inkling or ideal of how they are or how they were as parents.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind
like
of
humanizes them.
Yeah. Because right now, all we know is Trump is some billionaire that just spouting off a bunch of craziness. And
exactly.
then you get their kids telling you how they are. And even when Bill Clinton talked about his wife and stuff like that, a lot of stuff he was talking about, I did not know. Like talking about he talked about how he met her. He talked about some of the things that she did in the political world and stuff like that. And it's just like, wow, I didn't know that. I mean, you find out when you become first lady, like she was, you like Michelle Obama, you get into these things that you want to do, like you want to contribute to your husband's candidacy and the presidential thing, and you guys help out with different ideals, and you get these good ideals, like many first ladies before them, and you see that who I forget who said it. So it was her VP, not the VP that she now has her running mate. He basically said you got to look at the person and see, like, when they're in the spotlight versus when they're out of the spotlight. Look at what they've been doing as to what they're doing currently, like what they were doing before the spotlight was on them, and that's up to current. And if they were doing good works, then it tells you it tells you about their character. You know
exactly. What do y'all think about?
Go ahead.
What do y'all think about? I was going to ask about Michelle Obama because she got a lot of a lot of people were so excited about the speech she gave. You know, they felt like it was. A lot of people they already shouting 2020 Michelle Obama.
I was watching her speech today, and I was like, I love her.
Well, I think I like Michelle Obama, and I like her as our first lady, and I think she's phenomenal. But I think even with her, she doesn't want to. I saw an interview with her, and Gayle King asked her point blank, "Are you thinking about running for president at some point?" And she was like, "Gayle, what you talking about?" So, and then I'm thinking too, I don't really see her in the realm of being a presidential figure, but I do see her as being a powerful force within the political world. Maybe not on the same playing field as Hillary Clinton, but I feel like she set the bar high for the first lady of the United States of America. And I think the different programs she initiated, like the Move Your Body campaign, getting fit, getting kids fit and stuff like that. And she was reachable and personable. And,
be honest with you,
you don't see a lot of that with the first ladies. You don't see they don't seem like they're attainable the way she is.
Yeah,
and she's still humble with it.
As far as personable, I agree with you. She set the bar high. Like, she really did set the bar high. But, you know, I got to concede to Hillary as far as putting in that work.
Right.
Yeah.
As a first lady, you know, like Hillary, like they said, Hillary damn near overqualified for the job.
Yeah, because she started out doing shit before she was even.
Yeah, you know, Michelle, I think she's a lawyer, you know, got a law degree, whatever. So she, you know, I mean, no, I'm not knocking the work she put in so far, but to catch Hillary, as far, you know, Hillary done been Secretary of State, even though people didn't like the job she was a senator and all of that, you know. So
yeah, she was on the military board. She was doing so much.
Yeah, she did. You know what I mean? So, you know, Hillary, you know, like, people got to give it to her as far as the work she put in, you know. And I think that's why they was pushing for her to get the nomination, because basically was like, well, she's more qualified than any other candidate.
Right.
Yeah, because she started, and that's why I said when Bill Clinton was talking about her, and I'm glad I caught his speech, because he brought it up to when they met, about how she was already doing stuff before she met him, and then, you know, when they met, she still was pushing to do stuff. Even after she had her child, she was still doing public service work. So, like you said, she's like Obama said, she's overqualified. She's been doing this since before the camera was in her face.
Mm-hmm.
Up until before her husband became president, she was doing civil work, civil services types of work. And then even when she got into president, she still was doing stuff. And like I said, you at that point, like you said, you have to give her credit. You got to give credit where credit is due. She's been doing this, and and like her VP pointed out, she's been doing this before all this stuff, before her presidency, before all this stuff. So you see her pre her husband's presidency up until now, she's always been pushing forward to do new things. And like I said, a lot of people don't, like I said, we talked about on the show about how a lot of change has come within the Obama administration, and that knowing that she was a part of a lot of the situations. But like you said, and even with Michelle Obama, I think that presidency, that whole presidency as a whole was different, because you're in the era of social media. You're in the area of where back then a lot of presidential elections, you didn't really, or presidencies, you didn't really, the first lady wasn't as obtainable. They weren't doing like different random talk shows. They weren't on them. They were just doing presidential stuff. And whereas now you got where things were it's so more personable. They want a more personable and relatable president and first lady. And like you said, it's a lot of things that they brought into this administration as a whole. And a lot of things changed as far as, like you said, like we talked about before, you know, the gay rights, the LGBT community got a lot of stuff passed this year. There's so many things that got passed this year, though. Like I said, the healthcare, people can get mad about healthcare, the healthcare reform, but now everybody has insurance. You're like walk around and say, "Oh, I don't have insurance." Everybody's should have insurance. Yes, they're going to tax you if you don't, because you should have insurance, and that's a good thing. People need to go to doctors. People need to know stuff. You had an era of people not knowing what's wrong with them, then people just dying off because they didn't know. They weren't getting checkups. Just different things. So a lot has changed within the Obama administration. We're not going to agree with everything that happened, but they progressed a lot.
Yeah,
with this presidency.
In some areas, yeah, we can debate that. We can debate that on another show. We can debate that on another show. You feel me?
Right, but he did progress a lot.
I respect what he stood for. I respect the symbol that he represented for the black community. You know what I mean? I remember when, back in 2008, 2007, really, when I really first started realizing who he was, and I remember posting. I still got the note on my Facebook page that, because he was preaching change and all this, that, and the third, and I was saying then that the system is so crooked and so cracked, like the foundation is so rotten, it's really not too much he can really do. You see what I'm saying? And then, as we seen during his presidency, he got a lot of pushback on a lot of things. People fought him on a lot of things. and it also exposed a lot of the bigotry in this country.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his presidency exposed a lot of the bigotry in this country. So that's one of the things that, you know, when I look at his presidency that that I did like, because he exposed a lot of people. Now, as far as some of his policies, you know, like with any president, you feel me, we can always go back and forth about whether we agree or not. You know what I mean? That's just politics at the end of the day. But
yeah, but even he said it yesterday. He was like, you don't understand what it is like to be, like honestly speaking, like in his speech, he said it starts from the bottom. Everything, and I
that's
think
what I was saying last week.
And I think people lose the fact that he's the president, but he can try to push things through. And like you said, sometimes the things that he want to push through just don't happen. Like it's a vote. And even with the chief justices that he was trying to get another person elected, and they basically deny him that. Like he's like it's different. Like you can't just say somebody's president supposed to get this, that, and the third done. Everything goes through legislation. Like it has to go through a vote and the majority and things like that. So it's not like he can say it and it's done. Right. He has to push things through, like with the Obamacare. He had to work. He had to come. It's basically like anybody. You want to start a business. You got to come with a game plan. You got to come with it all mapped out. How you want to get it done, how it's going to be paid for, and then bring it to Congress, and they have to vote whether or not they're going to let this pass.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like any type of grant situation you're trying to do. You have to go through. So you have to put the work in and so forth, and say this is what I'm trying to do. And if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. And It's nothing really. You could either try it and take it back and start over again, but that takes time, and things take time. So I think, like you said, he's trying to push his legacy onto Hillary Clinton and know that she's going to try to push some of that other stuff they were trying to get back through, or at least try.
Right. Because there's so much that's going to be lost if a Republican is in office and not a Democrat. So many programs that are in place now that may not be in place.
Yeah,
like
the first thing I think he's
we're
trying to get rid of is
going.
Yeah, and I think the first thing Trump wants to get rid of is Obamacare.
Yeah,
that's the first thing to go. People want to lose
it ain't gonna be that easy. It ain't gonna be that easy. He just can't come in and just shut it down.
He can't. Yeah, and I know he can't. But it's people that. But like I said, you gotta have. Yeah, if he has like-minded individuals that are in legislation, and they get that vote, that's coming out. Like I said, I don't think people realize how many people like Trump and like the things he's saying and not.
People realize it now. People realize.
Yeah.
People, People, they can't help but realize it now. That man is the presidential nominee for the Republican Party. People realize how much power he has. Well, how much likability he has.
Yeah.
You feel me? But as far as him getting in there and just, I'm about to just, shut. One thing that Hillary and Bernie was going against each other was about Obamacare. You feel me? That's one thing people got to realize. Them, everybody, even Hillary, and they all are not 100% with Obamacare. You feel me? Hillary still want to change it up a little bit. We keep calling it Obamacare, it's really the Affordable Health Care Act.
Yeah,
you feel me? Yeah, so let's call it that. Because he about to get out of here. So she really want to tweak it. Bernie had a whole different idea of tweaking it too, to make it just like how Canada is. Because ours, they say it's affordable, but if you go in there and look at some of the plans are kind of expensive.
Yeah.
You can go in there and get it, but some of them plans are kind of expensive.
Some of them plans are actually cheaper than, I know, working with the state, a lot of people don't accept our insurance, and they go go on to the Affordable Care thing and get something that's cheaper. Because
Hillary is on the stage now.
Yeah.
She's about to give her speech.
Yeah.
She getting a nice little ovation.
And she got a whole white suit on.
It's a great hair.
She ain't come out with a dress on, y'all.
Oh, sure.
One thing about this convention I noticed, because one thing we always say about Trump, he ain't coming with no ideas, this, that, and the third. This has really been like a Trump bashing party. This whole convention.
Without even saying his name.
Yeah.
That's the interesting part. They, like Michelle Obama, I love the way she did it. she was able
Yeah.
to say stuff without saying Trump.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
only
but
people
you
I know
knew.
that I watched that said Trump was her VP and Obama. Of course, he was going to say something.
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren went in on it too. I think Elizabeth Warren, you know, she really went in. I really wanted her to run. She would have got my vote. Yeah, I love Elizabeth Warren. You feel me? That's why they was.
I got a question, you guys. What do you think about Trump talking to reaching out to Russia?
Oh yeah,
they said that was borderline treason.
I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you gotta build some type of diplomacy with them, with that dude anyway. You feel me? I don't know. I mean, like, we really don't know the extent of how far it went. You know, we just got certain reports. At the end of the day, he gonna have to. If he become president, he gonna have to talk to that man anyway.
Yeah, but he basically they had the news coverage of him basically saying that to go hack it and find the rest of her email.
Yeah, I mean, but he also said like you know, he was joking. You feel me? He you know what I mean, he said it in jest, and that's the one thing about, you know, the position he in now. You feel me? He can't do that no more.
Yeah.
You know, people got to understand one thing about Trump. He's not a politician, so people are really expecting him to act a certain way, and he's been telling everybody from the beginning, that's not me, and that's why I'm here. You feel me? I made it this far running anti-establishment. I am not the career politician that y'all keep voting in. So when he makes some of these off-the-hand comments, sometimes, you know, the media run with it one way, but sometimes you just got to chalk it up to him just being him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to chalk it up to him just being him, or him just, you know what I mean? You see him on Twitter. You see the stuff he posts on Twitter. You can tell the man sense-minded.
You're right, and you know, and that's an interesting point that you brought up, Clint, because, you know, I'm looking at him to be presidential, and I'm looking for him to conduct himself a certain way. But like you said, he's anti-establishment. He's the people's the people's politician without really being a politician.
Yeah.
You know, he's and like you said, we forget that. So some of these things, some of his rhetoric is just so baffling because we expect him to conduct himself in such a way that he's not going to do. He's Donald Trump. This is how he is.
Exactly.
But with that being said, he can't be promoting things like hacking with the emails and stuff like that, because like they said, if he had been a president, he would have got in trouble for treason for sure.
But they were saying, like, it's just like Russia is a well-known spy thing. They've been that forever. It's like, of all things to joke about, that was like tactless and unpresidential. Like you guys say, he's not the normal presidential candidate. He does not. He's a showman. He's like a attention seeker. And then they were saying that he did that just to get the attention off of Hillary and get it onto him. So, you know, he does things strategically to make himself relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he said before a while back, he said, I can walk into Times Square and shoot somebody and I probably still win president, or whatever he said. Like, he says stuff for shock value.
Right.
And it draws people in to say, oh, this guy just says what the hell he wants. Oh, I like him. He speaks the truth. He speaks his mind. And it's like, you can't be no president has ever spoke their mind. I'm pretty sure within the midst of Barack Obama's presidency, it's a lot of things he wanted to say, but he knew he couldn't say. Like, you know, we wanted him to say stuff about the Black Lives Matter. We wanted him to say a lot of things, but we know as a president he couldn't say that. But we wanted him to say that. Why? Because he was an African American, and we felt like he should have said something. You know?
Yeah.
But it's just, you can't say certain things because then it gets taken out of context and it creates a whole media fiasco.
Yeah, and that's like you said, Trump does stuff for shock value. That's like, you can't yell fire in a crowd. You know what I'm saying? If it's not really a fire going on, but he knows for shock value, if I say these things, then it's okay because people like that, because they associate what he says as, oh, he speaks what's on his mind, like you said, to further elaborate. He speaks what's on his mind, and he keeps it real, and we want a president that keeps it real, but a thing about being a president is you have to also be diplomatic. You also have to be able to be working with different personalities. You can't just bully your way into things.
Right.
And you got to learn how to work with both sides of the aisle, and I think Obama did that very well. President Obama did that very well because he could have easily been like, all right, veto, 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 veto. But he didn't do that. I'm not saying he didn't veto something. But he didn't force his will onto Congress. You have other presidents that say, well, I'm going to veto that. And they don't care what Congress has to say because they're the president and they can do that. But he didn't do that. Yeah, but he didn't do that. He kept it cool and was like, all right, I'm going to work with y'all. And some things worked in his favor and other things didn't. Like, I don't really understand the whole concept of the Chief Justice and why he couldn't pick one and why they had such an issue with it and why they would wait till the election year to elect to have the new president vote on it. But it would be ironic if Hillary did win, because then a Democrat is still picking the Chief Justice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be interesting to see that play out.
I'm listening to it right now. I'm listening to her right now, and she thinks she's slick. She had to pay homage to Bernie.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Because she know about most of that crowd is pro Bernie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I respect. I wish she would have picked me for vice president.
Yeah.
That would have been dope. That would have been dope.
Do you think he would have accepted vice president?
I don't know if he would have, because he would. But after she became the nominee, after she, you feel me, going into this convention, everybody already knew she was going to be the get the super delegates. So I guess going into this convention, she could have picked him or asked him, approached him about it, and I think he probably would have did it. Why not? Because then, y'all on that front line together.
Right. Yeah, and then she was that guaranteed vote.
Yeah. You feel me? That would have been dope.
But what if she did ask him? We don't know, and he turned it down.
Well, then that would have been his choice. At the end of the day, if he don't want to be her vibe, you never know. Behind the scenes, they probably discussed it. You feel me? He probably like, nah, I don't want to be the VP. He probably felt like he really had a chance at being president.
Yeah.
But she can't, just like we can't discount his voters.
Mm-mm.
And it's very important that she not polarize his voters. So she needs to bring them in and, like you said, pay homage to Bernie Sanders. Respect the man. He ran an excellent campaign, and he could have very well been the nominee himself.
Yep.
Yeah. Had things went another way. So don't discount him or his following, because that's a strong base right there, and that's a group of supporters you want on your team. You don't want to go the other way.
And most of them are young voters too.
Yeah,
that's the surprise. Yep, that's the surprising part about it. Like my sister, my sister, they old enough to vote now. All her friends, they all love Bernie. They like 19, 20.
Yeah.
They all Bernie. And it's funny, like, everybody talk about race in this country, but you got young black kids rooting for an old white man.
Yeah.
Who's progressive, who's really, speaks to us, so to speak. You know what I mean? And that's interesting when we get into that race conversation, because race going to play a big part in this election.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, race is already playing a big part in this election. So, you know, I mean, that's real interesting to me.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the of the VP, her VP that she picked?
Tim Kaine?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I guess it was a good pick at the end of the day. You know, he ain't. I don't know. I can't really. Like, he's not nothing special.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, he's not. Yeah. He's not nothing special. But I guess he. I'm trying to think of the word. Sort of like what Pence is to Trump. Mm-hmm. That's what Tim Kaine is to Hillary. He's that other part. Yeah. You know what I mean? That extension, like, you know, some of the stuff. Yeah, that balance. That's the word. Because they don't agree on everything neither.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't no huge Hillary supporter neither. But I guess so her team figured, all right, we'll pull him in. You know, because he's not like Bernie, but, you know, he leaned towards Bernie way a little bit. So I guess she figured he'll pull in them other votes that she can't get.
Yeah, because he definitely, his Virginians love him.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
When he spoke, and they did after, like, you know, after the convention was over, yesterday, talking to them, they were like, he was a good, you know, he started from being in the government of Virginia, like, in like the mayor, you know, all that. He started from all that, and then he became the senator for Virginia. So it's like he worked his way up in that city, and he was working to do a lot of positive things. And so they respect him. A lot of the people from Virginia love that man. So, you know, you definitely got the Virginia vote because they love him. Well, the ones there's the ones that are Democrats, you got them.
Right. And the thing of it is, too, like, you don't want the VP to outshine the nominee.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, a lot of people was like, especially after seeing Cory Booker's speech, like, oh, my God. Like, that was a phenomenal speech. And people were like, why didn't she pick him? But it would have took the attention away from her and be more focused on him. And it would have been about Cory Booker. She needed a good balance. She needed someone that would make a strong president in their own right, but not outshine her for this nomination.
Yeah.
So she didn't need somebody in her way. She needed somebody who could be by her side, help her win, and I don't know. It's like what Clint said earlier, balance. It's about balance. Like, they don't, like, ideally you probably wouldn't have thought of Tim Kaine, but that's who she chose, and he's a good balance for her. And it works.
Yeah.
So it's about balance. Like, Trump and, like, I know we don't necessarily like Trump, but, like, Trump and Christie would have been a mess because Christie's arrogant, Trump's arrogant, you know, they both bullies, you know. It would have just been, they would have canceled each other out. You know, so you got it with that, you got to balance.
First of all, nobody likes Christie. So you
right. I know.
Oh, like Christie. Like, Christie is horrible.
So like Clint said earlier, that's a debate for another day.
You said nobody likes Christie?
Well, I don't like Christie. A lot of state workers don't like Christie.
I'll say that. How you get voted in twice? Somebody likes him.
No, you know the sad part about it is, I would say that from the people that I work with, a lot of them don't vote, and that's why we talked about it all on our voting shows. When you can't bitch and complain or bitch and moan about something that you didn't even care enough to take less than 5 minutes of your time to cast a vote. That voting does not take more than 5 minutes, if that. So you can't complain to me about how sucky our governor is if you didn't even vote.
Exactly.
Like, And you, like I said, you will be surprised how many people, like, it's a lot of people that can't vote and want to vote. Matter of fact, I have a coworker who's getting her citizenship currently. She wants to vote so bad. She wanted to vote for Bernie. She loved Bernie. And to he's somebody that wants to vote and not be able to vote, and people that can vote and just don't want to. You know, people that went to jail, lost their right to vote, but still want to vote and can't vote. And you got people that can vote that don't.
Yeah.
Like, at that point, I don't want to hear, because as soon as you bitch and moan, did you vote? No. Then I don't want to hear nothing you have to say. Nothing.
Yeah.
Period. I don't want to hear nothing about your mayor, nothing. Did you vote? No. Like, that's just how I'm coming to don't ask anybody.
Like I said earlier, I don't want to hear it. I posted on Facebook. If you don't vote in your local elections, I don't want to hear a damn thing about what you got to say about the presidential election. I don't care how intelligent or how well informed. You could be more well informed on the presidential election than me. I don't care, because if you don't take the time to care about your local election,
exactly.
You know what I mean? I don't respect it, because that's the thing that's going to affect us immediately.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Our mayors, our city council, you know, sheriffs and stuff like that. When you vote for these people, that's just, you know what I mean? Like, that's the stuff that matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the stuff that matter. And I was so pissed at that last election we had locally in the city of Trent with less than 10,000 people. You know, everybody sitting here complaining this, that, and the third about the city, but then less than 10,000 people go out and vote.
Yeah.
I'm like, are y'all serious? I'm like, are y'all serious? Like, come on, man. And then, you know, it's like I got friends who don't vote, and it kind of irks me. It kind of irks me. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, how can I, you know what I mean? Like, you part of the problem.
Yeah, exactly. But you bitch complaining about the city, and like Obama said it yesterday. It starts from the bottom.
Exactly.
And that's why I tagged you in that tweet last night, because like I said, a lot of people don't vote for the general elections that we have here, the mayor, the city councils, none of that. Like, you don't vote for any of that. And then like I remember when Tony Mack started voting, doing election for mayor. People were like, oh, remember him from back in the day, blah 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 blah, and third, but you didn't vote. Like, you didn't vote. Or you, like, you know, you got to be mindful of who you vote for. You have to, same way you do for the presidential, you have to kind of look into what you're voting for.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know, like, you can't just go there and be like, I'm going to vote for just any, mighty, mo. No. And then you skip the questions at the bottom. Those are important questions. Like, you know, like I make it my personal, like, the place I vote to is right around the corner from my house. Either I go vote in the morning, or as soon as I get off from work, drop my kids off into the house, I go right to vote. Like, it takes, like I said, it literally takes less than, not even 5 minutes. You walk in there, if it's a line, depending on what type of day you go, it takes all of like 2 minutes and you're done.
Yeah.
You go in, you say your name, you know, they look you up, you sign, and you go cast your vote, and then you walk the hell out. You're done.
That's simple.
Like, that's just how easy it is. I brought my kids with me to go vote, like, you know, show them, you know. But, I mean, it's a privilege. That's what bothers me too. Do you know how hard it was for women to vote? How hard it was for black people to vote? Do you understand the struggle that went through so we had the ability to vote?
Yeah.
And that's like slapping Dr. Martin Luther King in the face. Slapping all these people that went through all the trouble to get women to have the right to have a vote. Like, and you're just not going to vote? Like, you're basically saying what they did to you didn't matter. It was in vain. You don't care.
Yeah. And that's a good point too. Like, I try to look at it like that. Like, when I be like, oh, I don't want to go to the polling place or whatever, you know, I think about things like that. Like, it doesn't take you much to go and vote, but look at what people before you went through for that, right? You got the women's suffrage, you got the civil rights movement with the voting, and how they had to basically do an essay, a standardized test just to vote. You know, they put so many barriers up for them to vote that we should feel implored to go there and vote. No matter what election it is, we should feel compelled within ourselves to vote just because we have the right. We shouldn't take it for granted at all. So.
Exactly. But, you know, some people do. You know, I don't. My thing is, like I said, I go with in the mindset that I already know the system is flawed.
Mm-hmm.
But the only way to change the system or create a new system is infiltrate.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and the only way to infiltrate is we have to put people that have our interests at heart in those positions.
Right.
So, so at some point, you have to vote.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because the only way we're going to get people in there that got our best interests at heart, and I ain't just talking about black people, I'm talking about the middle class or the underprivileged of all races. Mm-hmm. Like, we got to get people in there that have our best interests at heart.
Right. And we don't have to agree with everything they say, but at least they you know, we're not going to see eye to eye on everything. I mean, to me, I love President Obama. I don't want to see him leave. I'm going to probably bawl my eyes out when he leaves as much as when I did when he got in there. But there's some things that he may have done that I might not agree with. But overall, I agree with him. And I stood by him, and that's why I voted for him. And that's how we got to look at it. We can't think of it like, oh, well, he doesn't do this or she doesn't do that. You know, we have to. And, you know, Michelle Obama made a great point, too. She said this generation can't take for granted the fact that we may be electing a woman as president. Like, we got to stop taking these things for granted, these historical marks that we're making in history. They're going to be forever. They're going to forever change history. And we got to look at it like that. Like, we're doing great things with our vote. And that's how your voice is heard, by voting. Like, when you feel like nobody's listening to them, vote. Or, you know, make your presence known. But, like, you have the opportunity to do that. It's the land where you can have the freedom of speech, so use it.
Yeah.
You know, and voting is a way of doing that.
I think a lot of people in this country are so, they don't, like, you know, when other people come here, they feel like we take things for granted. And I agree, you know, because in other countries, you know, you can't speak out against some of the leaders without getting your head chopped off or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't got the right to vote. It ain't no voting process.
Yeah.
You feel me? They under dictatorships. You feel me? So we got a system here that would really the people control it, not the government. But the people are so apathetic. You know, it's like you get what you put in. You're not putting in no work. So, you know what I mean, the government officials and the degrading of the society that we live in is because, you know, people don't care.
Yeah,
so when you don't care for something, you know what happened when you don't care for something.
Yeah. So it's funny that you said that too, because my coworker that was saying that's trying to get her citizenship, she said in her country she wouldn't even be allowed to vote, and she's a citizen of that country. But now that she's trying to become a U.S. citizen and went to the paper, she's waiting to hear back if she got her citizenship. But she said she cannot wait to be able to vote. Just like you pointed out, she's from a country where she can't vote. There is no, I can vote for anything. She can't do it. And she's a citizen of that country. She can come in here, and if she's granted her U.S. citizenship, she can vote now. Like, do you understand? Like, and that's why I said these people that cannot vote, whether you got locked up and you can't, you know, your privilege got taken away, and they want to vote, and you got people that can vote that don't. It's crazy to me.
Yeah. It's baffling. It really is.
And that's why people hate Americans, like you said. we're privileged. We get even down to something petty as our food portions. They don't get. Our food portion is bigger than what they would get from their country.
Exactly.
Like different things. Like our dollars are more than their dollars. Our dollars.
We're such a wasteful country. It's ridiculous.
And that's why people have a gripe with Americans, because we don't they get little and they cherish what they get. We have all this given to us and we just do willy-nilly.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have the right to vote, but I'm not going to vote. Whereas the countries, they can't vote. They're under a dictatorship. And like you said, they can't speak out because that's treason, and you could die or be thrown in jail.
Yeah.
Like, you're being a radical. Like, you can't go against the grain because then you've upset everyone. So it's just, like I said, the Americans need to understand that we are a privileged people, and we need to be humble.
Honor that privilege.
Be humble and honor that. Yes, absolutely. And pay homage to the people that came before us.
Right. Because Hillary giving a decent speech, Yeah, I gotta give it to her. I mean, she basically touching on hitting all the bullet points. You feel me? She took a couple shots at Trump.
Yep.
You feel me?
That's why I say you got to find the positivity in each of these candidates. Like I said, I watched the whole Republican convention, and some of the viewpoints that his VP was pointing out, it's like, wow, okay, and you could kind of understand them and agree with them, but then like you have somebody as animated as Trump is, you kind of, like you said, he has valid ideas with no solutions.
Let me see if he's tweeting.
So
I know Trump, because I know he got something to say.
Of course he does. He probably still asking Russia to open those emails. I don't know.
Because he was mad at Cory Booker, boy. Cory Booker, whatever Cory Booker. Because I didn't even get a chance to review Cory Booker. His speech. I
it was on later. Fire. It was on fire. He even quoted Maya Angelou's "Still I Rise." Oh my goodness, that man evoked so much emotion with that speech. My goodness, he's gonna be destined for. I'm telling y'all, he's gonna be a force to be reckoned with. Just keep watching him.
2020 Cory Booker.
Yeah, he posted crooked Hillary.
Yeah, I just thought that.
Yeah, Trump. Trump relentless, man. Trump relentless. Okay. Well, people, almost 11 o'clock.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I had a nice conversation flowed so well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Time just flew by. So all y'all out there listening, we'd like to thank y'all for listening. We appreciate any callers. I know some of you really had some thoughts y'all want to share with us. Phone number 657-383-1155.
I think the thanks for down. I said the thanks so then I can't check the call.
Oh, okay. And also, if you're listening and other people will enjoy the show, let them know about it. Let them know our YouTube channel, GFT Radio. They can go to our website, gftradioshow.com.
Exactly.
Everything will be uploaded on there as well. What other ways they can get in contact with us?
Well, they could definitely hit us on
SoundCloud.
Our Facebook page too, SoundCloud. I don't know. Our SoundCloud link is on our website. So go to our website, www.gftradioshow.com. All of our links to everything that you can contact us on is on that website. All you got to do is go to About, and it's in that tab. All our information is there. You can definitely tweet us. We're tweeting GFT_radio. I also have to thank my sister Nye for joining us tonight. Definitely. To be a co-host, but I'm a guest host for tonight. Definitely value her points and her views.
Thank you. I had a wonderful time. You guys brought up some great points. And I have a lot to think about when we go to the polls in November. So thank you.
I hope she, I'm pressure on her now. I hope she be consistent and join us more often.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, you definitely can run in our conversation. Whenever you see a topic you want to be getting down in, you could definitely do that and join us. Right now, we're currently in the after show, so do you guys want to chat about something other than the Democratic election, or you want to keep going?
Let the conversation flow. I did want to mention. I do got something really important to talk about, because we were talking about last week where the girls from the WNBA got fined for wearing the Black Lives Matter shirts, and they also were in support of the officers that were slain, and the killings in Dallas, and the teams and the athletes were fined. Well, over this past week, I guess because WNBA got a lot of backlash from that, and a lot of people stood up from the women, excuse me, let me correct myself, and seriously, and all the fines were rescinded. So the women didn't have to pay it. Yeah. So all that worked out for them. And the main thing that we were talking about and that was mentioned was, they support the Pride, the LGBT community, but when it comes to the black community, it was an issue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that I really had an issue with, because I was about to be like, man, look, I ain't about to watch no more WNBA games. I'm always in support of WNBA. I love the WNBA. A lot of people, I feel like they should get more exposure, especially on TV, stuff like that. But when you making statements like that, like I can't, it makes me hard to rock with y'all. Y'all finding them women for speaking out. They're using their platform.
This is my thing about. Every time I hear somebody say something out against Black Lives Matter movement, it really irks my soul, because, they're not saying that other lives don't matter. They're not saying blue lives don't matter, all lives don't matter, whatever. They're just saying it's sad, actually, that society needs to be reminded that Black Lives Matter. You understand what I'm saying? Crazy to think about. Why we have to keep telling you that Black Lives Matter? You should know that Black Lives Matter just like all other lives do. And it just infuriates me when someone says something against Black Lives Matter movement, because they're trying to say that we're polarizing ourselves, but when in all actuality, society is polarizing us by targeting Black Americans and annihilating them, in some cases, shooting them for no good reason, telling them, when those that survive, that is, when why'd you shoot me? It's like, I don't know. It's crazy to think that even in 2016 we have to keep saying Black Lives Matter. You know what I mean? It's mind-boggling. And to see people get upset because we say that is like, well, if they matter so much, why are so many people? Look at the Freddie Gray case. I'm sorry to get off subject, but Gray case where all of the officers were acquitted. So y'all saying that man was murdered, but y'all saying that nobody murdered him. So what did he do? Commit suicide? What are y'all saying? And what are y'all telling us as a society? Y'all want us to feel included, but then you're polarizing us by doing things like this. Like, the man gets murdered. You say flat out it's a homicide, but then no one's ever convicted of it. In most of these cases, you find it homicide, but nobody gets convicted. Why is that? Crazy.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
And I think, like you said, people lose, and that's why I like the meme that goes around, and I put it on my Facebook and my Instagram and my Twitter at one point, and every social media site I had, when I said, when we say Black Lives Matter, it doesn't mean we're anti-white. Because some people take that as, like, okay, like you said, they take it as, oh, so white people don't matter. No, we're not saying that. We're just saying that we need you to understand that we, like you said, like that we matter. And the reason why we keep saying it is because at some point nobody's understanding that. Because if any situation where a black person is killed, it's like, okay, Black Lives Matter. Oh, well, what? Or they say like, well, what was he doing? Did he do something wrong? Well, he had to do X, Y, Z. In some situations, the black person did do something wrong, but no matter, talking back does not consider shoot and kill. It's, just different things that some of the cases, not all, because some of them were, not justified, but the police did use excessive force. Some things were just over the top, but in some situations, it's like these people weren't doing anything and you just didn't give a damn.
Right.
There's no justification for you shooting this person and killing them, let alone. And, when you ask questions, it's just like, okay, now it's a problem that you're asking this or that you're making everything conspiracy. It's not everything is conspiracy. It's just that explain to me how. And like I said, I said this on numerous shows. I flip things around. Let's just turn this and say if this was the right person doing this and this happened, do you think the outcome would have been the same? No. Just like the guys that were held up in the reserve threatening to kill people, they sat there for however long. And on that show, I think Willie South was on that show, and we basically said that was black people trying to walk up in here, guns and blazing, and it wouldn't even got that far. It wouldn't have lasted a day. It would have been, let's go up in there and shoot everybody, and we're done.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's my thing right there. Like, I don't understand that. Like, why is it always, like, all right, with this latest case where the guy was trying to get the guy with autism to get out the street and things like that, and the officer shoot him, and he asked him why, and he said, I don't know. Like, why did you shoot him? He was trying to protect someone. He wasn't hurting anybody. Oh, we got a call in the area of a disturbance, a disturbed man. Like, you can't, like, think like that. You can't, like, shoot, kill, and then ask questions later. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, people are so petrified of getting pulled over by the police because they don't know if they're going to make it out alive.
Yeah, like I always say, they're not trained. They're not being trained to de-escalate the situation anymore.
Right.
They're being trained, military style. Like, go in and kill the subject. Eliminate the threat instead of trying to assess the situation and trying to calm it down. That's my issue. That's my major issue. You feel me? Because it ain't even about race. It ain't even about race. These cops. These cops is killing all races. You know what I mean? More white people have been killed by cops this year than blacks. People need to understand that. Almost double. Almost double the number. And it's like it's the way they're being trained, in my opinion. You feel me? And then now it's like they're on a defensive. And they feel some type of way, and so now it's contention. It's contention between both parties, and when it's contention between a public servant against the public he's supposed to serve, well then now we have a serious issue.
Yeah,
we have a serious issue here.
And I think with black people, they already have issues with cops. Period. And then it's like not just to say, and I'm not taking away from it's not blue against black, it's blue against everybody else. But I think within the black community, that for us, we have an issue with cops. Period. And now that this situation has happened where cops are just killing people and just getting away with it, I think that's heightening it now. Like as a black person, not necessarily saying that other races aren't scared too, but like as a black person, now you're really like I forget who said it. I forget who I was watching who was talking about it, but they were basically saying like you have to. Matter of fact, I was reading one of my friends' blog. His name, Mr. Tramel. I know you're probably familiar with him playing N9, but he basically talked about how he got stopped by a cop. I actually just read it, I believe, yesterday or today, and he was saying how he got pulled over by a cop and he had to be conscious of everything he did, as not even as a citizen, but as a black person, a black man nonetheless. You have to kind of think about everything. You have to think about like, okay, what to do. You have to like even with the guy that got shot while he's laying on the ground with his hands up. You have to think about the situation, not as a regular person, but also as a black man, to think about, like, what can I do to make this guy feel safe? He said I had to, when the cop pulled me over and I rolled in my window, I had to, like, smile and be be conscious of what I'm doing and be overly approachable because I didn't want him to feel threatened.
Right.
Like, we have to prepare ourselves for when you get pulled over or stopped by a cop, whether you're standing in front of a store or hanging out in a car or driving a car and you get pulled over. You have to kind of, as a black person and black men especially, you have to kind of be mindful of your facial reactions, your tone of voice. You have to be approachable because you don't know. Like, and he said I was in gym clothes. I had a hoodie and everything on, and I had to kind of, like, take my hoodie off and just be, like, overly smiling and make my tone, and not sound hostile, even though I was upset. Because at one point I was speeding, and the other point I wasn't. So, he took it from different times to 2 different times, and he was like, each time I had to think about my appearance, how I spoke, everything to make sure that I was safe.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. You have you have to be mindful of everything. Your movement, you can't move suddenly. You have to, even if you're talking to them, you got to kind of ask them, is it okay that I go grab my stuff and show you? You can't just say, license registration, okay, let me go. You can't just say license registration and then go just reach and get it. You can't do that anymore. That's not safe.
Yeah. Sometimes
talking that you're going to do it is not safe either, so you got to say, listen, I'm going to reach my license and registration. Is that okay? I know you just told me to get it, but I'm letting you know that that's what I'm going to reach for. I'm not reaching for a weapon. This is what I'm going to get. And that's
right.
Crazy that you have to be overly cautious when a cop has pulled you over. So it's sad that it's come to that.
It is.
Well, at this point, to be quite honest with you, it's been like that for a while.
Yeah.
For us, especially a black man, like it's like you have to watch when they come to the car. Like you have to be, like you were just saying, you have to conduct yourself a certain way. You know what I mean? You have to be overly friendly, so to speak. But for the most part, you know what I mean? Nah, I ain't with all that. You feel me? You approach my car, you pull me, if I know I didn't do nothing wrong, what you pull me over for? You know what I mean? My shit legit. You feel me? I just can't concede that power to them.
Yeah, but that's that's a lot of people feel that way. But then you understand that you could be perceived as that you got attitude, you're agitated, and then they're going to get they're going to feed off of your energy. So if you're agitated, I'm going to get agitated with you. That's anybody. Like if you walk into a conversation, you have an conversation about you get agitated, they'll get agitated too. Sometimes you feed off the person's energy. So even if, like you said, a lot of black men don't want to feel like they've been sissy or being punked. They're a man. I'm a man.
It ain't even about being
I'm
sissy
right.
or being punked. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It's about being right or being wrong.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like if I know I didn't do, I have the right. You feel me? This ain't no hood, scholar, nothing. Like, I mean, what are you pulling me over for? You feel me? Explain. And if I feel as though what you pulling me over for is bullshit, well, guess what, bro? I'm gonna see you in court. You know what I mean? Like I don't got to be all belligerent and act crazy, but he gonna know, like, know what I mean? Like you just not, like, we gonna have to go to court for this. You feel me? And if people don't understand, a lot of times when you go to court, you'll win. Sometimes they don't even show up, and that shit get thrown out. You know what I mean? So it's ways to fight it. You know what I mean? You don't always have to be. You know what I mean? If you have something to hide, well, then that's a different story. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Then you're going to act a certain way. But if you don't have nothing to hide, you know what I mean? You can be yourself. You know what I mean? Like, of course, when they approach your car, you have your hands on that steering wheel. That's all. Just have your hands on that steering wheel. Open. You feel me? Once they see that and you have your documents in your hand, I don't wait till the cop get to the car to pull my documents out. I don't understand why people do that. As soon as I see them about to pull me over, as soon as them lights come on, I'm already pulling my stuff out.
But sometimes if you do that and you have a sudden movement and you're reaching to get your stuff, that might be considered as a hostile situation to them.
But not while I'm still moving, not before I pulled over. You feel me? Like, I mean, like, I'm talking about before I pull over. As soon as I'm pulling over, I'm grabbing my stuff. I got to go in the glove compartment and get my stuff anyway. They know this. You feel me? They ran my plate already. They know I got license. They know I got registration. They know I got insurance. They know this. So I mean, how else am I going to present it to them? You feel me?
Yeah.
How else? Millions of people get pulled over. You know what I mean? A day, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people get pulled over a day. People got to understand this. So it's not like they're just shooting everybody they pull over.
No.
You know what I mean? To be quite honest, these are all isolated incidents. To be quite honest, the isolated incidents as far as being pulled over in the car and stuff like that. You feel me?
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? Getting shot in the car, like, that shit just real random. You know what I mean? Like, that shit real random. So, outside of that, I mean, just be regular, man. Just be regular. And then don't be, like you said, you don't have to be an asshole when there's no need to be an asshole.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, we be seeing these videos where, you know what I mean? Like, really, if you just, you know what I mean, show the cop your ID or answer his question real quick, you probably just go on about your way. You feel me? But if you want to bicker and go back and forth with them, then nah. You know what I mean? There's a time and place for everything. You just got to know your time and place.
Yeah. So, my question was, was not to really change subject, but my question was regarding the NBA All-Star game with them moving it. Have they officially decided to move it?
Say that again now?
Okay, the NBA All-Star game, have they officially decided to move it from North Carolina?
It's been official. When they announced it, it was official.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they ain't playing around.
Did they decide what city it was going to be in?
Huh?
Have they decided what city it's going to be in?
I'm not quite sure yet. I really haven't been following it, but I know for a fact. I can Google it real quick, but I know for a fact they definitely moving it. They ain't. You know what I mean?
Why were they moving into what happened?
Basically what happened is they North Carolina passed the law where for you know how everybody's changing the bathroom for transgender.
Yeah.
They're basically saying that whatever you were born with, that's what you have. That's whatever you were born with. That's what bathroom you have to go to.
Oh.
And so the NBA does not support that. So now they're going to move they pulled the All-Star weekend from North Carolina, and they're thinking about moving it elsewhere.
Oh.
Where they are going to move it elsewhere. So they just said that, okay, since you don't support this, we're going to go elsewhere. But now North Carolina lost millions of dollars.
Yeah, that's so whack. So, I feel like, man, the LGBT community is getting so much. I mean, they're getting so much support that other groups not. Like, it's crazy. Crazy. It's like for some reason they kowtowing to them. You feel me? Like, I'm all for everybody living their life however they want, however they feel, however they choose. You know what I mean? As long as they're not hurting nobody. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's like they getting concessions that they wouldn't give black people as a whole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or any other group. You know, like, just, like, come on, man. Like, I think it's real simple. You are what you are. Go to the bathroom as you are. You're born a man, you go to the man's room. You're a woman, you go to the woman's room. Like, come on, man. Like, trying to complicate everything. Like, and then, you know what I mean? It's so deep to the point to where you'll cost that city millions of dollars. You costing people, you know what I mean? People was going to have jobs just to prepare for that.
Yeah.
You understand? That's big. That's big business. That's big money coming to that town, man.
Yeah.
And y'all just do that like that? Like, nah, that's whack, man. I don't respect that. I don't respect that at all.
Yeah.
Also happens when you have that type of power. They are unified, and if they shut shit down, they'll shut shit down.
Yeah.
But see, and that's the thing when we talk about unity. That's the thing black people gotta get out their mind. Like, You feel me? You tell me at one point in history where all black people was unified. At one point, so why I don't understand why everybody walking around here thinking we all supposed to just be one nation. No other race thinks like that. Y'all understand that? No other race thinks like that or is held to that standard. White people damn sure don't think like that. They went to civil war with each other. You understand?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Black people, for some reason, especially in America, we all supposed to be one. Like, when were we all one? Even the slaves that came over here, they all didn't come from the same place. And that who you think Africans was going to war with in Africa? They was fighting each other. You know what I mean? It was blacks fighting blacks. Like so at what point do we think, or why do we think that we all supposed to be one nation? Even during the civil rights movement. Go back to the civil rights movement, 50, 60 years ago. Was everybody on the same accord? No. You had Martin, people who identify with Martin, people who identify with Malcolm, people who identify with Marcus Garvey. You know what I mean? Like, everybody was, it was no one, it's more than one way to skin a cat, first of all, but it's, everybody not going to be on the same accord.
Right. And you know what? You make a good point with that. Like, you're right. Everybody's not always on one accord, and that's okay. But like Ray just pointed out, which made a really excellent point, was with the LGBT community, they are a community. They have their issues that they feel that need to be voiced, and they will fight. They will fight for it. They will stand together for it. Even if they don't like each other, they will stand together for what they believe in. And I think we need more of that. Like, I hear what you're saying about, us not being on one accord, but if we want to get things done, we have to be on one accord.
But it's not going to happen.
It's not, right.
It's not going to happen. You feel me? Like, I really need people to understand that's never going to happen.
Right.
That's never going to happen.
Yeah, because black folks don't trust each other.
Right.
White people don't, so you can't,
white
don't know, you know what I mean? You can't just say that as a sweeping statement.
But I'm just, I understand that, but you understand that there has to be trust to be able to move together, and it's a lot of, like, people, like you said, people have different viewpoints. People think that something can be done this way. They're not always going to agree, so therefore it's going to be a conflict.
As long as you have the haves and the have-nots, you feel me? Like, you got black people that have, you got black people that have not. They're not going to always look at the same issues the same way.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
So they'll never be on the same accord. They may agree on certain situations, you feel me, they may face, but at the end of the day, the way how they may deal with it or how they may think it should be dealt with may be totally different.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like people all, like, you needed the Black Panthers. Like, people don't understand that. We all, they celebrate Martin so much because they feared the Black Panthers. You understand? They wanted the black people at whole. He was a pacifist. He was peaceful. That's what we want y'all to be. He was nonviolent. That's what. But Black Panthers got shit done.
Yeah, look at that with the breakfast program.
Yeah, like, that's why they had to go in and destroy that, because they knew they right.
Even with Malcolm X, people, I respected. I respect Martin Luther King. I respect everything that he had going on, but I really respected Malcolm X. Black Panthers too. I can't say that I didn't respect them either. But when I respected how Malcolm's approach was, how his approach was, and even after he went to Egypt and came back, and his viewpoints differed from the Nation of Islam to a certain extent. I really respected how he did things, and like I said, him and Malcolm kind of had their issues, but I think they at the end of the day they respected each other.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
they respected
Malcolm was right. Like, you's a fool. You know what I mean? You's a fool if you're gonna keep letting these people kill you and you not fight back.
Right.
Like that's foolish. Like that's foolish in any country and any continent. That is a fool. If you like, come on. You might as well have stayed in slavery.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well have stayed in slavery. That's basic. And then on top of that, you're trying to assimilate. That's when you want to talk, we had some semblance of a black community. People gotta forget our population was much smaller. The black population was much smaller back then. Black population has exploded. So now it's more people, more different ideologies out here. First of all, so everybody not going to come together. But when you talk about, assimilating, that's what killed us. You had so many black people. Well, I want to be, I want to get along with the whites. I want to act like the whites. I want to be, but they don't accept you.
Right.
You're trying to assimilate, but they don't accept you. So now that's where you get the Uncle Toms and all that rhetoric come from. You know what I mean? Because people are just trying to go along and get along. You know what I mean? They ain't trying to make no noise. You feel me?
Like Station Dash?
Yeah, well, yeah, she fully assimilated. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I always agree with Malcolm. And like, we got to do for ourselves. And the Nation of Islam, because they basically, in the beginning, that's where Malcolm was getting all his knowledge from. You feel me? The Nation of Islam, not Islam. You feel me? That's two different entities. You know what I mean? That's one thing black people need to educate themselves about. A lot of people, the Nation of Islam and Islam, that's two different things. Nation of Islam is black, pro-black. That's Louis Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad is not the same Prophet Muhammad that they talk about in Islam. You know what I mean? Two different, totally different ideologies. You know what I mean? So,
and I think that's how come when Malcolm came back, he understood the difference.
Yeah, because when he went there, he seen it was Muslims of all colors, of all races and ethnicities. So, you know what I mean? He was like, whoa, I've been taught a jaded version of Islam. You know what I mean? I've been taught a jaded version of Islam. It's like black man is God, black man is king, and all this, crazy stuff. Black man was the first here, but, it runs deeper than that. You know what I mean? Like, you feel me? That's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show I could get into. You feel me? That's a whole nother show. But
that would be a whole interesting show, though. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it definitely would be. But
I like the way you broke that down. You said that the Nation of Islam and Islam are two different things.
Yeah, there's two different. If even in this city, if you see it's Sunni Muslims, you feel me? That's basically they like. You know what I mean? They represent basically what Malik Al-Shabazz, who was Malcolm X, came back as. Then you got the Nation of Islam. That's who Malcolm was before. That's Malcolm X.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? The Malik Al-Shabazz does not get along with the Malcolm X. They'll see each other. They'll rob bomb and be like, man, you're preaching that false doctrine.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that and third. But, I think we got a minute left.
Thank you guys for listening to the show tonight. Definitely tune into our website, www.gftradioshow.com, and thank you for listening.
Hit me up on the kingstruth.com. I'll let your boy.
At Koi Magazine, Naisha Kelly, hit me up. Twitter.
This was a great show, guys.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
I love it. I definitely want to come